What if I were to tell you that you're not as in control of your choices as you think? And that those videos filling your screen and those ideas taking root in your mind, well, they're actually being selected for you, not by you. And it's something very powerful is working silently and invisibly behind the scenes, and it's predetermining exactly what will catch your eye next. And this is no longer just beneficial technology at work, family. This is human conditioning. And here's the truly frightening part. Most of you, you don't even realize it's happening to you. Stay with me on this journey because by the time we're done, you might just question how much of your mind is truly your own. Hey, Circle. Welcome back to Unplugged, Raw and Uncut. And if you're new here, pull up a chair because today we're taking a deep dive into water so deep that most are scared to go. You know that feeling when you're scrolling mindlessly? Like you pick up your phone just to check something real quick, and suddenly you look up and an hour or two's gone. And you can't even remember half of what you just watched. And trust me, people, that's not an accident. That's by design. Let me introduce you to B.F. Skinner. He's a psychologist who mastered the science of behavioral conditioning. His most famous experiment involved mice in what we now call a Skinner box. And the concept was brilliantly simple. When a mouse pressed the lever, it received a food reward. And if it pressed it again, it received an additional food reward. And soon enough, the mouse learned that pressing that lever automatically with no thought, no question, just action and reward over and over again, it became an autonomous habit. Does this sound familiar? So when we scroll endlessly through our feeds and we click on every single notification the moment it appears, and we find ourselves often trapped in this endless loop of never ending videos. We've inadvertently become those mice people, but with one crucial difference. Every time we tap, swipe, or like something, well, just know the AI is studying us and it's learning our patterns and it's predicting our next move. And it's carefully continuing to feed us exactly whatever it is that will keep us pressing that lever, just like those mice. But here's the terrifying part. At least those mice eventually realized that they were part of an experiment. Have you? So let me break this down in real terms. You know how when you watch something on your phone, like let's say a fitness video, and suddenly your entire feed is bombarded with weight loss content or weightlifting or something related to the health field, or you click on one conspiracy theory just out of morbid curiosity, and you look up, and your whole timeline has become a never-ending rabbit hole of extreme ideas. Or you look at one political perspective just to check on it. And AI will silently filter out any opposing viewpoints to that perspective, keeping you locked in this single narrow lane. So then we need to ask ourselves something. Are we truly making choices or is AI choosing for us? Because we like to comfort ourselves with this illusion of control. And we like to tell ourselves that we are the ones who are freely selecting what we want to watch or believe or what to engage with. But here's a deeper question. How can you truly choose something when something else is determining which options appear in front of you in the first place? And think about it. Why is it that certain creators and ideas seem to dominate your feed over and over again? And why do you keep seeing the same products advertised everywhere you go? And why is it so hard to find differing perspectives that'll challenge your existing beliefs? Well, I'll tell you why. Because AI isn't simply responding to your preferences anymore, it's actively shaping them, one click at a time. Now, imagine this scenario if you can. You walk into this massive movie theater. The ones with 10, 12, 15, 18 screens, and each one of those screens is playing a different genre of movie, from horror to classic to whatever. And you approach the ticket counter, you're excited. You've got all these movies to choose from, right? All these possibilities. And then you notice that the digital display behind the counter, well, it only offers you three options. So I guess naturally in your mind, you assume that these must be the best film options available, right? The most popular, or the ones most relevant to your interests, or the ones that you're going to get the most enjoyment out of. But now, what if I were to tell you that behind the curtain, there were dozens and dozens of other films that you never even saw listed? And movies that you might actually like more than anything you've ever watched, or stories that could challenge your thinking in profound ways, or even perspectives that might fundamentally change your life's direction. But guess what? You'll never know. You'll never even know they exist, because AI isn't helping you choose, it's actually deciding which choices you're allowed to see in the first place. And here's the most disturbing part of all this: if you don't know what's being hidden from you, how would you ever think to search for it? Just as those mice in Skinner's experiment didn't realize they were being conditioned, most people don't recognize that AI is systematically conditioning them too. But we have one crucial advantage over those mice people. We have something called awareness. And with awareness comes the power to resist. So, how do we use this awareness? Here's our escape plan. First, we need to interrupt the patterns. We need to stop letting AI run our brains on autopilot. And we need to deliberately search for those topics that are outside of our usual interests. And we need to be more intentional and conscious about what we choose to consume. We also need to start to cross check everything. Something I learned about being online: never trust a single source. I always compare it to, I always compare it to at least two or three other sources, different outside sources on different platforms. And then you compare how those different outlets are covering that same story. And be sure to pay close attention to what's emphasized and what's conveniently missing from those stories. And thirdly, learn to seek out opposing viewpoints. And if AI wants to keep us in this carefully formatted thought bubble, our first act of resistance should be to pop that bubble. We need to start to interact and follow people who think differently than we do. We need to challenge our own perspectives regularly. That's just healthy, people. And one thing that most of us don't know is we need to recognize that dopamine trap. Those little likes and notifications and recommendations, well, they're not just innocent little features, people. They're carefully engineered treats, and they're designed to keep you pressing that lever or scrolling. So be aware of how your brain responds to these digital treats. And fifth, we need to actively choose our own content. So instead of just accepting whatever the algorithm serves us, we need to take our time and manually search. You do still remember how to manually search, right? And manually search for information. Let's become the hunter and not the fed. Because here's the uncomfortable truth, people. If we don't take back control of our attention, well, we're no longer the users of AI. We've become its product. And let's get real with each other for a minute, family. Have you noticed how AI increasingly narrows what you see on your feed? And have you felt that strange sensation of seeing the same type of content over and over again? And have you stopped to consider that these systems might be training us to consume passively rather than think critically? Because the danger of becoming passive consumers is that they don't question what they're shown. They simply accept whatever appears before them as true. And they never wonder about what they're not seeing or not being shown. And so here's my challenge to you, a simple experiment. For the next 24 hours, deliberately interrupt the pattern. Search for something completely outside your norm or the algorithm's prediction. And click on something unexpected, something that you normally maybe even wouldn't have an interest in. So something though that challenges you. And then come back and share what happened. Because the only true defense against manipulation is taking conscious control of your own mind. And drop your experiences down in the comments. This conversation is just way too important to have only once. And if this message resonated with you, hit that like and subscribe button and share this with someone who could benefit from hearing it. And because the more minds that we wake up, the harder it becomes for AI to keep us all in our little separate boxes. And we're building something very powerful here, people. A community of conscious thinkers, one voice at a time, because every single voice matters. Well, people, thank you for joining me today. And I hope you'll think on what I said today. And let's stop letting AI mindlessly control us. And like I said, when you get that feed and it gives you those suggestions, go search for something way outside your normal interests. And watch how quick that algorithm changes on you. Take care of yourself and each other. Bye, everybody.